Retatrutide is one of the most powerful fat loss tools that's out right now, but it's also one of the easiest to mess up, and most people are doing it wrong. I'm going to walk you through the biggest mistakes I see people make, and some of these are the exact same reason people stall. It's the same reason that people feel terrible or they don't get the results they expected. People are hearing about Retatrutide, they see the results, and they jump in without really understanding how it actually works. They treat it like every other GLP-1. They guess on dosing, they don't adjust their nutrition, and they ignore what their body is actually telling them. Then a few weeks go by, and instead of getting leaner and feeling better, they're dealing with side effects, they're losing muscle, they're stalling out, or just feeling overall off. And then they start thinking, maybe this isn't for me, when in reality, it's not Retatrutide itself, it's how it's being used. And like anything else, if you use it the wrong way, you're either not going to get results or you're going to create problems you didn't need to have in the first place. So in this video, I'm going to break down the biggest mistakes that I see over and over again. And if you're new here, I cover everything peptides, gear, training, nutrition. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so that you don't miss new videos. And if you get value from this, make sure you hit the like button. All right, let's start with the first mistake: fake gear, fake results. This one is bigger than most people realize because a lot of people jump on Retatrutide, but they don't actually know what they're taking. They're ordering from some random site, from some random Telegram groups, or some random guy that was recommended, and just trusting the label that's on the vial, if there's even a label at all. And here's the problem. The vial could be underdosed, the vial could be contaminated, or it not even be Retatrutide at all. And now you're sitting there wondering, why isn't this working? Why do I feel so weird? Why am I not getting results like everyone else? Meanwhile, the issue isn't the compound, it's what you're actually putting into your body. And this is how you can get yourself in trouble, because now you're going to start thinking it's not working. So you increase the dose, you might start adding more compounds, you might start blaming your diet or training, when in reality, you're just trying to fix a problem that started at the source. And here's the honest and hard truth. If your product isn't legit, nothing else matters what you do. You're building on a bad foundation. So what should you be doing instead? You need to be intentional about where it's coming from. And that means reputable sourcing, COAs, third-party testing when possible, and Finric is a company that tests peptides from different websites and reports on it, which is a valuable website and one you should be checking out. I'll link it in the comments below. Because cheaper upfront usually costs you more in the long run. So before you worry about dosing, stacking, or anything else, make sure what you're using is actually real. All right, we're gonna move on to mistake number 2, and that is starting too high. This is one of the fastest ways to ruin your experience with Retatrutide. People come in thinking more is better, I want results fast, so instead of easing into it, they jump straight to a higher dose. And at first, it might feel like that you're getting ahead, but very quickly, it's gonna catch up to you. Or it might not, everyone's different. But if it does catch up to you, that's when you start dealing with things like nausea. You're gonna have loss of appetite to the point that you can't even eat, which I know is the goal, but it can eventually become a problem. You might have elevated heart rate. You might have sleep issues. You might just have a feeling of run down overall. And now instead of progressing, you're trying to manage side effects. And here's the reality. Retatrutide and fat loss in general is not something that you need to rush. Retatrutide is strong enough that even lower doses can be effective. The goal isn't to take as much as possible or get there as fast. You're not in a race. The goal is to find the lowest dose that gives you the results while still feeling good. And we call this the minimum effective dose. So the best approach is simple, and I'm gonna break it down for you right here. Start lower than you think, let your body adapt, and then increase slowly based on how you respond. Because when you respect the dosing on the front end, everything else becomes easier to manage on the back end. All right, mistake number 3, keeping your dose too low for too long. This one flies under the radar, but it happens all the time. People start low, which is good, which I just recommended in the previous mistake, but then they just stay there. Weeks go by, progress slows down, and nothing changes. They're not seeing results anymore, but they're also not adjusting either. So they start thinking, maybe this just doesn't work for me, when in reality, they're just underdosed. So here's the deal, and I'm gonna kick it to you straight. Starting low is smart. Staying low forever isn't. Your body adapts, and what worked in the beginning won't always keep working at the same level. And if you don't adjust the dose as your body adapts, that's when progress stalls. This is where people actually get stuck. Fat loss comes down, appetite control isn't as strong, energy balance levels out, and instead of making a small increase, they either do nothing or they quit altogether. The better approach is very, very, very simple. Start low, yes, but pay attention to what's happening. If results start to slow, if appetite starts creeping back up, or if progress stalls, that's your signal. You make a controlled, gradual increase, not a big jump. The goal is to progress intelligently over time. That's how you keep momentum going without running into unnecessary issues. All right, Mistake number 4, not eating enough food. And this is probably the most common one and the most damaging long term. Retatrutide suppresses appetite. So what do people do? They just stop eating. They skip meals, they eat once or twice a day, and they think less food equals faster fat loss. But that's not how this works. When you consistently undereat, your body starts adapting. Now you're dealing with low energy, you're dealing with weak workouts, you have a slower metabolism, increased risk of muscle loss, and over time, fat loss actually slows down. So now you're barely eating anything and not even getting better results. That's the trap. People think they're doing everything right because the scale dropped really quickly at first, but what they're actually doing is creating a situation that's harder to sustain and easier to rebound from. Here's the way that I like to look at it. Retatrutide gives you control over your appetite. It doesn't mean that you ignore your nutrition. You still need enough calories, you need enough protein, and you need structured meals, even if you're not hungry. Because the goal here isn't just to lose weight, it's to lose fat, keep muscle, and actually look better at the end of it. All right, mistake number 5, and that is scale obsession syndrome. This is where people let the number on the scale control everything. If it drops, they're happy. If it doesn't, they think something's wrong. But with Retatrutide, it's not always linear. You'll have weeks where weight's gonna drop really fast, and then weeks where nothing really moves. And that's where people panic. They start thinking, do I need to increase the dose? Is this not working anymore? Should I eat less? When in reality, nothing is broken. Your body just doesn't lose fat in perfectly straight line. There are fluctuations like water retention, digestion, hormonal shifts, and all of that can mask progress on the scale. Meanwhile, you could be leaning out, you could be holding on to more muscle, you could be looking better in the mirror, but ignoring all of that because the scale didn't move in a few days. That's the mistake. The scale is just one tool, not the only one. So instead of obsessing over daily weigh-ins, start paying attention to how you look, how your clothes fit, how you're performing in the gym, because if those are improving, you're moving in the right direction, whether the scale says it or not. Mistake number 6 is what we call copy-paste stack syndrome, and that is blindly stacking peptides. This is where people start adding more and more compounds without really understanding what they're doing. They see someone else run a stack on Reddit, and they just copy it. There's no context, there's no reasoning, no idea how the compounds actually interact, and the mindset becomes more must be better, and that's not how this works. When you start stacking things without a clear purpose, you're going to increase side effects, you can create conflicting signals in the body, you can make it harder to tell what's actually working, and now instead of a clean and effective protocol, you've got a mess. And if something feels off, you don't even know what caused it. Retatrutide on its own is very powerful. You don't need to throw another 5 things on top of it just because you saw someone else do it on the internet or on TikTok. Every compound should have a reason. And I'm not saying don't stack things with Reta, but you need to ask, what is it doing? Why is it there? How does it complement what you're already using? If you can't answer those, it probably doesn't need to even be there. The goal here isn't to run a more complex stack. It's not a flex to say I'm running 6 or 7 compound. It's to run the most effective ones. All right, mistake number 7, and that is not adjusting your food choices while you're on Retatrutide. A lot of people, unfortunately, keep eating the same way they did before, and that's where the problems start. Retatrutide changes how your body handles food. Your appetite is different, your digestion can feel different, fullness hits faster and harder, but people still try to force big meals or heavy high-fat foods or large portions, and then they wonder why they feel nauseous, overly full, uncomfortable while they're eating. It's not always just the compound, it's how you're eating with it. You have to adapt. And that might look like smaller, more manageable meals throughout the day. Instead of 3 large ones, maybe eat 4 to 5, 6 small ones. That means leaner protein sources. That means foods that are easy to digest. This is one of those adjustments that makes everything smoother. When your food matches what your body can handle, you feel better, you feel more consistent, and you're actually able to stick with your plan. But if you're eating the same way like you were before, you're going to keep running into the same issues. Take advantage of your time on Retatrutide and start making better food choices for future you. All right, moving on to mistake number 8, and that is skipping the iron, aka resistance training. And this one is a big one, and I know not everybody wants to go to the gym, but you do need to be doing something active where you are causing resistance against your muscles. And if you don't do this, this is how people end up disappointed with their results. They get on Retatrutide, they start losing weight, but they're not lifting. So what happens? The scale goes down, but a good chunk of that can be muscle strength, overall fullness, and now instead of looking leaner and more defined, you're just looking smaller and softer. And for women, a lot of that looks like a flatter butt. And for guys, you can start looking skinny fat. And I know that's not the goal for anybody. Your body needs a reason to hold on to muscle, and the reason is resistance training. If you're not lifting, your body has no signal to keep that muscle around, especially when calories are lower. So it starts letting go. That's when training matters even more when you're in a fat loss phase. You don't need to train like a maniac like me, but you do need consistency. You do need progressive effort. You need some level of intensity because the goal isn't just weight loss, it's body composition. You want to lose fat and you want to keep muscle. And that only happens if you give your body the signal to do that. So if you're relying on the compound alone, you're missing a huge part of the equation. All right, mistake number 9, expecting zero appetite. A lot of people come into this thinking that they're just not going to be hungry at all. And for some people that does happen. You might think that your idea of food and wanting to eat is going to be completely shut off. And when that doesn't happen, they assume something's wrong. They'll say, I can still eat. I still get hungry sometimes. Is this even working? And that's a misunderstanding of how this works. Retatrutide doesn't hit everyone the same way when it comes to appetite. For some people, yeah, appetite drops hard. For others, it's just more subtle. They still get hungry, they can still eat, but their overall intake is easier to control. And that's the difference. It's not always about eliminating hunger, it's about improving control. And if you're expecting zero appetite, you might think that the compound's not working or ignore the fact that you're eating more than you think because you assumed hunger would be completely gone. Here's the best way to look at this. Hunger might still be there, but your ability to manage it should be better. And if you use that properly, that's where the results actually come from. Mistake number 10, confusing weight loss with health. Just because the scale is going down doesn't automatically mean everything is improving, and this is where people get a false sense of progress. They see the number drop and they assume I'm getting healthier. And that's not always the full picture because you can lose weight and still have poor nutrition. You can still have low protein intake. You can have low energy, poor recovery, poor sleep, or even poor issues with blood sugar, hormonal balance, overall metabolic function. The scale doesn't tell you any of that. It just tells you that your body weight has changed. That's it. So if your entire focus is just, am I lighter than I was last week? You're missing what actually matters because again, the goal isn't just to weigh less, it's to improve your body composition, it's to maintain muscle while you're losing weight, it's to support your metabolism and actually feel better overall because if you lose weight the wrong way, you can end up lighter but not healthier. So don't let the scale be the only thing that you measure. Don't be stuck in that scale syndrome. Pay attention to the full picture. That's how you make sure that you get the results that you're actually after and you're actually moving in the right direction. Mistake number 11, and that is ignoring heart health. And this is one that you don't want to take lightly. Retatrutide can raise heart rate more than any other typical GLP-1s. And the reason for this is the glucagon component. So while some things like semaglutide might bump your heart rate slightly, Retatrutide can push it even more, sometimes 5 to 10 beats per minute higher. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but if you already have something like elevated resting heart rate or underlying heart conditions or something undiagnosed, you're adding stress to a system that may already be struggling. And most people, they don't even check. They just jump in, no baseline, no awareness, no idea what's normal for them. And then they'll notice that their heart rate is beating faster, they feel a little bit more on edge, sleep isn't deep, and they either ignore it or assume it's nothing. You shouldn't go into this blind. At a minimum, you should know your resting heart rate, how your body typically feels at baseline, and for some people, it makes sense to go to a step further and talk to a provider, consider something like an EKG if needed, because while early data shows most effects aren't severe, there have been signals, especially at higher doses, of something like rhythm changes. And long-term data is still limited with this. So this isn't something that you just guess on. The goal is to be aware, track what's happening, pay attention to changes, and if something feels off, adjust it or drop it altogether if you need to, because it's a lot easier to stay ahead of it than to deal with it after the fact. All right, mistake number 12, starting Retatrutide before you're ready. And you might say, well, how do I know if I'm ready? This is where people try to use Retatrutide to fix everything. Their diet isn't consistent, training is all over the place, or not at all. Sleep is hit or miss, and instead of tightening those things up, they jump straight into one of the most powerful fat loss tools available, hoping it's going to carry the load. And at first, it kind of works. Your appetite might drop, weight starts moving, but underneath that, nothing else has been built. So what do you think happens? You've got no structure with food, no consistency with training, no real habits in place, and now you're relying entirely on the compound to hold it all together. That's not sustainable, because the second something changes, you start missing doses, you come off, appetite comes back, everything starts falling apart. This is why the foundation matters. You don't need to be perfect, but you do need to have a basic structure with your nutrition. You need to have some consistency with training. You need to have a routine you can actually stick to, because Retatrutide works best when it's supporting good habits, not trying to replace them. So instead of jumping in, hoping that it fixes everything, get the basics in place first, then layer it in. That's how you actually get results that last. All right, mistake number 13, and that is fight or flight mode. And what I mean by that is living in fight or flight mode, and this one is more important than people think. Retatrutide doesn't just affect appetite and metabolism, it also activates the glucagon receptor. That can push your body into a more stimulated, alert state. So when people say, my heart feels like it's racing, I feel wired, I keep waking up at night, my dreams are intense, that's not random, that's the compound doing what it's designed to do. It's increasing energy output, but at the same time, it's stimulating your nervous system. The problem is people ignore it. They just brush it off as that it's just stress or I'll get used to it. Meanwhile, they're staying in constant fight or flight state. And that can start to impact your sleep quality, your recovery, it can impact your cortisol levels, and over time, fat loss. Because if your body is constantly overstimulated, it's not recovering the way that it should. This is where people get stuck. They're doing everything else right, but their nervous system is always on. The fix isn't complicated, but it does require awareness. You might need to adjust when you're taking the dose. You might need to lower your dose down. You might need to be more intentional with your sleep. Pay attention to how your body is responding. Potentially talk to a GLP-1 provider, because the goal is to create an environment where your body can actually perform and recover. And if you're constantly wired, you're quietly working against your own progress. All right. So that's all that I got for you as far as mistakes go. If you're using Retatrutide or if you're thinking about it, cleaning up just a few of these mistakes can make a big difference in your results. If you got value from this, please hit that like button, drop a comment with your experience or questions, and make sure that you're subscribed. I've got a lot more coming. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.